Hello, and welcome to our session on systematic program design. This is part of T4.2 training where we are rethinking how we are recruiting, managing students' life and experiences at our universities. Today we are focusing on onboarding, which is critical first experience students have with the institution. And I want to emphasize the word systematic here because we are not talking about a single orientation day. We are talking about strategic, multi-stage process that lets students up hopefully for the success from the moment they are accepted. So let's get started. Okay, why does systematic onboarding matter so much? Let me give you the background, some numbers first. Engagement in the first 4 weeks predicts the retention more than academic background according to the several research conducted in the field. Think about that. It's not about how well they did in the secondary school. It's about how connected and engaged they become in those first few weeks. And now let's look at what's happening across Europe. 80% of EU institutions now have digital admission systems, and 75% provide personalized portals before the classes even begin. So these are according to the surveys conducted in the EU. And this is becoming the standard expectation. But here is the shift we need to make for our digital campuses. We need to move from administrative processing, just getting the students registered and sorted, but to holistic student journeys that support the whole process, whole person as well. And we need to move from the reactive responses when problems arise to a proactive intervention before our students struggle. And we need to move from a single orientation day to a multi-stage strategic process that will be conducted systematically. So here are the 5 pillars of systematic onboarding that we are going to explore today. First, pre-enrollment preparation. This is about making readiness visible before students arrive on our digital campus. Technology orientation, building digital confidence through structured sequences, not just throwing our students into LMS and hoping they will figure out. Third, academic expectation setting. So creating what we call, digital contracts and making the expectations, academic expectations, crystal clear from the beginning. Number 4, resource introduction. This is the strategic phasing. It's very important not to overwhelm our students at once, but to sequentially introduce the resources. And 5th, early engagement tracking, using data to drive intervention and support before students fall through the cracks. These 5 pillars work together to create a comprehensive onboarding experience, which we will be looking at from now and on. So let's start with the pre-enrollment preparation and the strategic entry systems you need. First of all is the online admission portal. So this provides centralized application management, real-time tracking, so students know where they are in the process, automated document verification, and integrated payment systems. Second is the personalized study portals. So here students get access before they even enroll. So they can browse the course catalog. They can maybe use a schedule builder to plan their courses if possible. They can check the calendar. They can track all the program requirements and themselves against versus of that. So they are already engaging with the institution. And third is a digital welcome package. So these are the automated email sequences that we create beforehand that provide comprehensive information packets. So it might also be a faculty messages. So because they are not meeting in person, so we need to create this human experience. So let our students hear from their professors before day one. And we can also create different printable checklists so they know what to do and frequently asked question databases for common questions. So all of this is happening before our students enter their classes. Now let's talk about competency building because not all students arrive with the same preparation. So online bridging courses are pre-semester modules offered 4 to 8 weeks before the term starts. So this might cover mathematics, academic writing, language proficiency, or discipline-specific prerequisites. Students who need them can get up to speed before their before they're already behind. So we can also include here some of self-assessment tools. So then they can help students identify their own skill gaps. You can, for example, use the comp-based digital competency assessments. Also, some type of learning style inventories to identify for the students, first of all, what type of learner they are, time management evaluations, so students can see for themselves where they might need support. And last is a remedial identification. So this is proactive approach. We will use diagnostics, creating a flagging systems, developing customized study plans, and connect our students with the tutoring before they even start the class. So the goal is ensuring all students start on equal footing through proactive skill development. So we don't need to wait until they fail the first exam to discover that they need a math support. Now let's look at the comp that I just mentioned. And I want to flag here that we are now working with version 3.0, published in November 2025. So this is the most current edition of the European framework. And the good news is that the 5 competency areas haven't changed. So the structure you may already know remains the same. But what 3 brings is a significant update in the emphasis. So the biggest one is AI. So in DCOMP 3, AI competence is no longer a separate topic. So it's woven into all 5 areas, all 21 competencies. So that's a meaningful shift that reflects where we are actually right now. So let me walk through into these 5 areas quickly. And so then later on you might think how these 5 areas can be introduced to our students and what type of, for example, assessments can be made before our students enter, during, and after also their courses or after the semesters as well. So first is information and the data literacy, searching, evaluating sources, managing data. In 3.0, this is now explicitly includes critically evaluating AI-generated content and understanding how digital information is produced. Second, communication and collaboration. This is academic communication, digital citizenship, collaborative tools, and etiquette. Third, content generation, creation, developing and editing digital formats, copyright, licensing, for some fields, maybe basic programming. Fourth, safety and well-being, so protecting devices and personal data, but 3.0 places much stronger emphasis on digital well-being, mental health, and digital rights. And the fifth is problem solving, so it's troubleshooting, matching tools to tasks, creative solutions, and identifying your own learning gaps. So these 5 areas give us the comprehensive and current framework for thinking about what digital competence actually means for our students and for designing our orientation. Just goes beyond. Here is how login into LMS. Okay, continuing on. Now we have a virtual campus familiarization, and you might be wondering if this is digital education, why do students need to know where buildings are? So if your program is 100% online, then the physical campus orientation is less relevant. But in most cases, that's not the full picture. So most of our institutions are blended. So students still come in for exams, labs, administrative matters, and for a student from other areas visiting the campus for the first time, that arrival can be genuinely stressful. So virtual campus familiarization solves this before it becomes a problem. So these students already have explored the space virtually and seen where the things are, who to contact and where to go, then the first physical visit feels manageable, so it reduces anxiety, and regardless of how digital your program is, this is ultimately a belonging tool. And for that, it really matters. And here we have interactive virtual tools. These are 360-degree web-based explorations with clickable hotspots, student-narrated walkthroughs, accessibility features, mobile apps. And we also have here digital campus maps showing the building locations, wayfinding directions, real-time hours, and course schedules. Integrations, different type of maybe visual familiarization photos, for example. And the facilities overview videos can also be very beneficial. So it will provide a virtual tour of libraries, laboratories, student centers, demonstration of resources, and also accessibility walkthroughs. Okay, let's now get to specific type of the demos, walkthroughs that we need to create in our onboarding. So let's get with LMS navigation, and this is the building competence in the primary learning environment. So here I just wrote a draft program, what kind of modules can be included for the LMS mastery. So for example, module 1 is getting started, login, dashboard customization, navigation, notification. Second module is all about accessing the material, so how to download videos, assignments, external links, mobile access. Module 3 is all about communication, different parts of the LMS related to announcements, forums, messaging, office hour bookings. Module 4 is all about submitting the work, how to submit it, so different type of files accepted, verification that is uploaded correctly using Turnitin or a plagiarism detection, resubmission procedures. And last module is a tracking progress, so teaching our students how to access their gradebook, viewing feedback, understanding the grade calculation. So here, the most important, the focus that we should have is that it's not important that we are not just teaching click here, but we are teaching why we use this and how it supports your learning and the professional development. So it's very important to connect the technology to the educational goals that our students have. Let's talk about digital communication protocols because mastering the academic professionalism is essential, and it shouldn't be implicit one. So it's really, we need to teach our students explicitly. So email excellence starts with the clear. So here is just two examples, right? With the emails and the virtual conferences. So, depending on your institution, you might also have a different type of other digital communication tools and different type of protocols that you can give your students. So then their communication would be in a professional way and also efficiently. So this here is the example. So for example, for the emails, we can say that for the protocol, we can teach our students that the email excellence starts with the clear subject lines, not question, but something specific like question about assignment to deadline. Using formal structure, proper greeting, clear purpose, professional closing. And we can also teach our students how to choose this channel communication. Maybe complex questions go in emails and the quick clarifications you can use LMS messaging, or maybe urgent issues go to the help desk of the university. And we need also to teach the response expectations, for example, waiting for 48 to 72 hours before following up. So because professors are also getting hundreds of emails every day. And the video conferencing ethics matters as well right now. So we need to teach pre-meeting preps during the meeting, how to use chats, how to be aware of the privacy, the importance of using yourself, using the right hand, so so you don't interrupt other people. So finding the appropriate background. So everything is so important, and these are not intuitive skills that our students are born with. So we need to teach them explicitly this as well. So we have a very smooth experience during and after our classes. When designing the onboarding process, we need to think about cybersecurity and digital safety. So we need to teach our students all about secure authentication, teaching strong passwords, introducing password managers, requiring this to auto authentication, emphasizing never sharing credentials with anyone, phishing awareness, data protection, and safe network use. For example, understanding the difference between the guest and the secure networks, using VPN for remote access, avoiding illegal downloads to create liability, and so on. Professors define their own expectations in their syllabi, and that's their space, and we need to respect that. But during onboarding, before students even enter a specific course, we have a unique opportunity to give them something different, a shared baseline. So when we design the onboarding program, we need to cover both dimensions, qualitative and the quantitative dimensions. So quantitative dimensions can be what we use at our university, such as login frequency, contributions, the participation numbers, and what counts as a qualitative participation. So it's a meaningful participation, what is meaningful participations, and so on. So professors will handle the course-specific details in their syllabi, but our job is here in our onboarding is to establish the shared baseline before any of that begins, so our students know what to expect, what do we expect from them before they even step into their classrooms. Now let's talk about resource introduction, starting with the centralized first-year hub. This is the one-stop resource portal. So for the academic support, we might include tutoring, writing centers, library research consultations, supplemental instructions, accessibility service, so all in one place. For the technology support, we might include in our onboarding, also in this hub, IT help desk, software downloads, training resources, equipment loans, troubleshooting guides. For the student services, registrar, financial aid, academic advising, career services, counseling, and wellness. And last is the campus life, so it's student organizations, housing, dining, transportation, recreation, and the fitness. The design principle here is it's important to organize everything by the student need, so not by the department structure. Students don't need to think in terms of which administrative office handles what. So they need to think, I need help with research, or I need to talk to someone about my stress. So then they just find it by topic. So make it persistently available, mobile responsive, and regularly updated. And here is the strategy. So phase resource reveal. Please don't overwhelm students with everything on day one. So time the introduction to match the student needs. So from week 0 to 1, it can be essential foundations only. So all about technology access, critical contacts, orientation, completion, physical campus basics, if they need to know, and also virtual campus basics. Week 2 to 3 can be all about academic tools, library introduction, writing center services, time management resources, learning style assessments. Week 4 to 5 can be all about deepening the support, so you can now introduce your tutoring services, supplemental instructions, academic integrity resources, and study skill workshops. Week 6 to 7 can be all about holistic wellness, so counseling services, career center, financial literacy, fitness, and recreation. And from week 8 and beyond, it can be all about community engagement. So student organizations, volunteer opportunities, research programs, and study abroad. So this phased approach means that students encounter resources when they are actually ready to use them. So they when the needs are coming, so you know what resources to drop for them. And so it's not happening when they are too overwhelmed to even register what you're telling them. So it's very important to match the student needs. And now we get to this data-driven approach. Early engagement milestone is very important. And as we mentioned before, that engagement predicts success more than the demographics. And silent students in digital environments are at high risk of failure and dropout. And early intervention in these first 4 weeks is exponentially more effective than the reactive support later. So what are these critical milestones to track? So week 1, we might track a virtual learning environment login, profile completion, syllabus review, introduction post. In week 2, we can track whether the student interacted with the resources, whether the person was using the communication tools, and know all the calendar, the events that's happening. Week 3 is maybe already their class has started, so maybe there is an assessment, so whether this first assessment were completed, whether their orientation models were finished. And week 4, we can check on the consistency of login pattern, peer interaction, and resource utilization that we are giving them. So if students hit these milestones, they are on track. If they don't, you need to intervene immediately because the first 4 weeks are extra important. So here you can implement how you can implement an early warning system to move from data to action. So first of all, it's very important to integrate all data. So pull from LMS analytics, student information system, third-party tools, faculty reports, bring it all together. The second is automated flags. So create, for example, a three-tier system. So tier 1 is low concern, tier 2 is a moderate concern, and tier 3 can be a high risk. So advisors should have a dashboard where they can sort students by list and also can see a student profile and case management tools so they can track their outreach. And the intervention protocols, so these are the tier-based risk levels. So tier 1 can be automated outreach, so if it's a low risk one. Then maybe already we have in our template library, different type of email reminders, so we can send them LMS notifications and maybe a peer buddy check-in. So it's low intensity. Tier 2 is all about personal contact. So advisor sends an email and makes a phone call, and instructor invites the student to office hours, maybe connect them with resources. So here we need to wait for 48, 72 hours response from the students. And tier 3 is intensive intervention. So here we might use a multi-channel outreach, email, phone, text if you have it, hold a case conference, make a meeting mandatory, provide crisis resource referrals, and in this case we need to have a 24-hour response, and otherwise maybe we need to accelerate the case. Now let's make this practical, and here is an exercise for evaluating your current system. So step 1 is a current state mapping. Take some minutes to create a timeline from the acceptance through week 4, and what are all touch points, tasks, resources, orientation activities students encounter in your current university, in the current state. Then in step 2, do a gap analysis, take some time and compare against the 5 pillars we discussed, what exists, what's missing, and how do you prioritize addressing these gaps. Step 3 is a student perspective, take some minutes and survey recent students or review existing feedback, were they confused, what built their confidence, and how did they discover the resources. And step 4 is action planning. Identify 3 quick wins that you could implement in 1 semester and 2 strategic projects that you would take 6 to 12 months. So this audit will give you a clear picture of where you are and where you need to go. Alright, let's bring this together with next steps and the key takeaways. So number 1 is important systematic approach. So onboarding is a multi-stage process and not a single event that's happening on the 1st of September. Number 2, digital competency requires explicit teaching, so aligned with the frameworks like DeepComp. Number 3, transparency. Use digital contracts to make expectations clear from day 1. Number 4, phase resources. Strategic timing matches when students actually need the support. Number 5, early intervention. Data-driven support prevents the dropout before it happens. So here's some additional exercises that you can work on. So these are totally optional. Exercise 2, design a technology orientation model. So for example, you can create a self-paced training for LMS navigation, digital communications, cybersecurity, or library research. Next exercise is creating a digital learning contract, so you can establish explicit expectations document covering participation, feedback, time management, and assessment in general, that the students can just learn about that and be ready for their study at your university. Exercise 4, design an early alert dashboard, so you can plan your milestone tracking system, define some red flags, create intervention protocols with tiered response templates. So this exercise hopefully will help you to move from understanding the concepts to actually implementing them in your own institutional context, and see you in the next video.